I hope you like obscure movie and pop culture references because let me tell you, I am going to give them to you today. Session 1. I'll make you a believer. Well, I guess I'll give it my best shot. I constantly get asked the following questions. What is my brand? How do I start a brand? And how do I implement my brand? First of all, stop. You already have a personal brand. Your brand is who you are and what you do. Or as Gary Vee would say, hey, have you ever heard of Gary Vee? It's your reputation. Disruptor takes it a step further and says that your brand, listen up, is what you say about the content you share. Why? Because not everyone's going to click on the link you shared, that's going to read the article you shared, or watch the video that you posted. Still, they will most definitely read what you wrote about it. So what are you telling the world? That's your brand. Trust me, I guarantee you already have one. Right now, your brand may be lumped into the 99% of people who choose not to create content and be something along the lines of, that's that guy with the great necktie. But make no mistake, you have a brand. So when it comes to your brand, there's only one key to putting it all together. And that is getting over the stigma centered around creating content for social media. First of all, do you or have you? And second of all, why haven't you? If that's a personal brand, then what the heck is a professional brand? I knew you were going to ask me that question. It's a reasonably simple concept. Here it is. How do you help people? Since I believe that if somebody said it best, you shouldn't try to beat it. Donald Miller has a great book called Building a Story Brand. The idea is that our customers are actually the hero, and we are their guides to achieving success or avoiding potentially devastating problems. Keeping that ideology at the forefront of your mind will help you as you transition into this thought leader that you're about to become. And finally, we have arrived at the stage for me to stand on a soapbox and preach my beliefs about sales and marketing to you. So let me ask you a question. When was the last time you were using social media and you stopped on content that was posted by some company you didn't know? That was a rhetorical question because you never have. Everything put out by a company can either be disinteresting or perceived as an ad. So why do we spend all of our time as salespeople pushing content we ourselves wouldn't even engage in? Here's the reason I'm going to get fired from your corporate job. Are you ready for this? Because instead of pushing the company offerings onto someone and neglecting the notion that people, as in us, want to buy and don't want to be sold, we should probably encourage and emphasize making our people famous. What? Yeah, because the ROI is a significant increase in brand awareness. This is definitely troubling for your boss to absorb. Still, suppose you can get past the thought of taking a back seat to your people, because in that case, you're likely going to inspire more people to follow your brand than you ever have. And in turn, you're going to collect a significant amount of opportunities, way more than you have in the past. So, just to recap the controversy that I just mentioned, as I'm literally walking out of your office because I just got fired. I'm telling you to make your sales team famous by supporting their personal brands, because their personal brands are attached to your company or your organization. You will get back a new wave of brand awareness in the form of new followers. So let me ask you this question, Neo. You want the red pill or the blue pill? I think it's time we break down sales and marketing. Shall we? Up until the year, well, I don't know, actually. All I know is the year I discovered this for myself. It was sales versus marketing and not sales plus marketing. Here's what I'm talking about. Traditionally, sales have taken a very specific path to engage with prospective clients. It's a path called one-to-one. We can call this a micro approach for all you econ majors taking this course. Just kidding, there's no econ majors taking this course. So naturally, that means that marketers have taken a path called one-to-many. They create content centered around targeting personas propped up by campaigns, by PPC, SEO, email, social, retargeting, television, press, print. Wait, what's print? But it doesn't always work. Let me tell you what I mean by this in this week's breakdown. From 2007 to 2011, I was required to make 160 cold calls a week. Now, I only average between 120 and 150, so I feel pretty safe calling it an average of 135. Given my time at that job, including holidays and vacation, the total adds up to approximately 29,295 calls from 2012 to May of 2016. I can tell you precisely what the calls were as I have them clearly documented. I used to include them under my job description on my LinkedIn profile because I was so proud of them. And that number is 18,684. You follow me? For a grand total of 47,979 cold calls since 2007. That doesn't include the 40 or so cold calls per day I made from 2004 to 2007. Less than a year in on a digital marketing team, creating campaigns, workflows, doing SEO audits, creating buyer personas, writing marketing emails, blogs, creating content, getting certifications, reading, going to conferences, studying, researching, and suddenly I realized something. It doesn't work. Nobody, and I mean nobody, answers the phone anymore. And company content doesn't convert because nobody, including you, engages with it. Nobody. Nobody, baby. How's Keith Sweat? Surprised you never heard of him. Here we are at sales plus marketing. So let's get crazy. That was my joker. Put on your tinfoil hats, guys, because here's the new theory. Sales is the new marketing department, and marketing is the old sales department. Okay, I'll calm down, but here's what I mean. Sales needs to take a macro approach, creating their own content to start conversations, hundreds of them. Marketing now needs to take a micro approach to very specific people in a very specific stage to assist the sales team and convert more leads. We need to work together. We need to have common goals. In 2016, I traveled to the land of New England to see Gary Vaynerchuk speak. Technically, it was Boston for a HubSpot inbound conference, but it sounds cooler when I say it like that. After hearing him speak, I felt like Jerry Maguire, Lord of the Living Room. And I wrote a memo. A mission statement. Actually, I didn't write anything. But I did grow a conscience. So, there's that. Wait a minute. Here's why I'm telling you this. In 2015, as a sales trainer, I had this crazy goal of writing a sales blog. I know, sales. I'm proud to say that I spent a considerable amount of time boring the death out of 300, maybe 400 people a week. Because I wrote close to 50 blogs that year. And what I realized was like a facilitation of my own self-discovery. I wrote blogs just about sales and got nothing. Then I wrote about sales and I tied a personal experience to the back end of it. And I got something. And then I wrote about myself. And I tied a small sales lesson into it. And I got a ton of engagement. People were more interested in engaging with what I had to say about my life than about my career. Whoa. Then, suddenly, I used my LinkedIn summary as a script for a YouTube video and I posted it on LinkedIn, way before native video. And the next day, a local sales manager called me out of nowhere on the phone. He actually called me on the phone. Are you the guy who just made a video with his Jeep blowing up on a farm to the theme from James Bond? Yeah, that's me. Why? I need sales training, and I want you to train me. Because of the video? Yeah, I don't want to work with just anyone. I want to work with somebody I can relate to, and I love your content. Oh, cool, man. That's awesome. All of a sudden, I was $10,000 richer. Yeah, buddy. Okay, there's this movie. It's called Crazy Stupid Love, and it is fantastic. And in this movie, they use a Karate Kid reference for meeting girls at the bar. I know, 2 movie references at the same time, and the entire theory is inappropriate. But bear with me as I explain what I mean by this. Now, hang on. First of all, there are so many consultants out there that claim to either know the algorithm, to know ads, or some kind of secret to becoming an influencer. A very few, actually have an issue with those of us who claim to be self-taught. I don't. In fact, I'd rather play for someone who has proven to me that they have tried hard enough to fail, that has a significant amount of experience figuring out what works for them and what doesn't, than work with anybody else. I check the box for me under that classification because all the work I've done to get right here over the years, it's similar to those movie references I just mentioned. It doesn't matter because Mr. Miyagi taught Ryan Gosling how to pick up chicks at a bar. It doesn't matter. I created content, I posted on social, I prospected on social, and I learned about marketing and sales at the same time. And I woke up one day and all of a sudden, I know karate. AKA, I learned how to social sell with my personal brand, and I didn't even see it coming. Is now an appropriate time to tell you how badly I want to show you a clip from Crazy Stupid Love right now because I know you're super confused? I'm sorry for that. If you don't get my point, this might help. Just know that I did actually learn from experience every single thing that I'm referring to right now. Everything. Here we are at the age of the salesperson. And this brings me to my next theory, and I really hope you didn't run out of tinfoil. When I started my career, I worked for Orkin Pest Control in residential door-to-door sales. It was a brutally fulfilling job. Okay. When I would enter the home, the customer had to listen to me as I presented how to rid their home of cockroaches, which are nasty. They had to listen to me walk through the brochure because the brochure was their only hope. They didn't stand a chance if they didn't hire my services. That was a fun era. And let me tell you, we can call it the age of the salesperson. Unfortunately, many salespeople, they're still stuck in that era, refusing to accept reality, or that sales has ever evolved. Sales is never going to change. Now, fast forward to the information era, better known as the age of the customer. We went from having all the leverage to having none at all. Now, if you need your bugs eliminated from your house, your furnace fixed, or how to create social ads, all you need to do is find a video to show you how to do it. Or you could read an article to give you the directions. I'm going to probably watch a video. The leverage had switched hands from the salesperson to the customer overnight. Thanks a lot, Google. This had such an impact on how we sell, we were too busy ignoring it to realize that the way we add value was forever changed. Think of it this way. People still had money to fix their problems. They just didn't have the time. So every time they did have a problem, they had to weigh the time it would take to learn and implement the solution against how much it would actually cost. How they do this is through trust. Do they trust you enough to let you help them? Do they? Before I jump to how we gain trust, I think it's essential to consider where I believe we are now. That this is the age of the employee. This era can have huge implications on your marketing efforts, let alone employee retention. Coming off a pandemic, which I know is debatable, we are now uncertain about our jobs and the status of our colleagues' jobs. They might not necessarily lose their jobs, they might actually quit. And I bring that up now knowing I'm going to dive into it later when I discussed what exactly is earned media. So make sure you stick around for that. But people are also leaving their jobs because they are what I like to call smoked, meaning they work 5 feet from where they sleep, and their work light is always on, meaning they're forever available. So when the boss tries to save them by throwing them a raise, it has no impact on them because they're just going to make more money they can't spend on their family. The age of the employee refers to treating your employees the same way you treat your customers. I mean, after all, if you can't keep your employees, you likely can't service your customers, and that's a huge problem. Do you know how you need feedback from your customers to create better marketing materials and content? You now need that same feedback from your employees, except that feedback now comes in the form of ideas for marketing with a volunteer sign-up sheet attached to it. Because you might want them to star in the content. The result is employees who are now better compensated and have a deep sense of connection to their company because the company is finally listening to them. Which brings me to trust. Trust is easy. It's credibility plus reliability. If you can prove to people that you're not only qualified and able to do the work, but you're also going to do what you said you're going to do, which is a notorious problem for salespeople, you're almost there, but not quite yet. If people buy from people, then the way they come to that conclusion is based on trust. And the fastest way to demonstrate trust is by your willingness to not be okay. Better known as vulnerability. I'm not trying to tell you that you got to tell the world your deepest, darkest secrets, but I'm telling you, you have to be open about sharing your opinions. I'm certainly not telling you that you can't sell anyone anything. I am telling you not to pitch your products and services immediately. The art of having a tasteful opinion about your personal brand is also the lost art of becoming a thought leader, not a subject matter expert. We already know the company you work for can do that for you. I'm talking about someone who is generous in their thinking. Are you trustworthy? Are you generous? Are you a thought leader? Do you create content and form opinions around topics your audience cares about? Or are you strictly business? How are those results looking for you? Depending on your answer, you may want to start accepting it's time to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I know I've said that a few times because it's important. So here we are. I was once asked to lead a team of cold calling machines who relentlessly dialed for dollars to set appointments with prospective clients. And I declined that offer. Why? Because it was 2016 and I was fresh off this Gary V keynote experience. Think of it this way. If I really need to get a hold of someone or talk to them, a strong argument can be made that the fastest way to do that would be to stake them out in front of their office at the beginning or end of the day and casually bump into them as if I didn't mean to, but I actually did. For that reason, and because there are so many alternative options for getting a hold of someone now with the access and availability of social media. Think about it. Sure, you can call them, you can send them an email, you could send them a Facebook message, a text message, an in-mail. You could stop in to see them. You could send them a DM on Twitter. You could tweet at them. You could send them a video. Seriously, guys, you could send them a video. You could tag them on a social media post. You could recommend them on social media. You can follow them on Instagram. You could connect with them on LinkedIn. You could message them on LinkedIn. You could write them a positive review on Google. Should I keep going? Or do we still need to only make cold calls and connect and pitch on LinkedIn? Okay, I'll stop. Say uncle. Say it. Big facts. After I declined to take on the team of cold callers, we changed course and went with an alternate plan, my plan. I sat in a room for 3 months and I wrote this playbook, and we bet the farm on the outcome. This playbook is what I'm about to dive into and share with you during our upcoming sessions. And these results, if you play your cards right, will be your results too. Keep in mind, there are no shortcuts. Also keep in mind that for us, LinkedIn was our primary platform for engagement. That doesn't necessarily mean it's your preferred platform, and that's okay. I decided to hire a team and make them famous. For the first time, we were so focused on bringing our brand awareness to the company in a new way, and we were pumped. We started with 7,000 connections in 2017. 7,000. We had 7 guys by the end of 2018, and we had well over 50,000 connections. We sent 50,000 messages in 1 year as a team. We posted socially over 500 times. Our overall engagement rate went from 2 to 3% making cold calls and sending emails to over 20% sending LinkedIn messages. We went from an average of 3 unqualified meetings a month with our salespeople to an average of 10 plus a month with our new team of prospectors. For the first time ever, we sold out of resources to sell. We didn't have any resources, meaning we didn't have any product. We were pioneers. We were a team of Dwight Schrutes outselling this stupid website. You know what I'm talking about. Before I left that company to start my own thing, I was asked a question by our marketing director if I felt that I had hired amateur marketers. I think this is an opportunity to define the word amateur. If amateur is setting 25 more qualified appointments per month than your marketing team does, what does that make you? A novice marketing director? Sure. The data speaks for itself. Here we are at the crossroads. We haven't even started diving in yet, guys. But I have to know, are you a believer yet? Do you think you can be willing to bend your traditional sales and marketing beliefs? Do you believe that you can get over the stigma of creating content as a selling behavior? Do you think you can use your personal brand as a mechanism to start and join conversations socially? If you're the business owner, do you think you can let go enough to let your team step in front and propel your business forward? If you answered yes, let me ask you this question to close us out. But before you answer, hold on. Keep in mind that it can't be longer than 1 sentence long. What's your brand? Do you know it? If you answered no, I'm going to spend another session proving why you need to flip-flop on that no answer. And maybe I'll come back and say, nice flip-flop. So are you ready? Because if you are, clear your schedule, because today we're going to be having drinks with Don Draper. Actually, don't drink, but I'm going to watch you drink. It's going to be fun.